Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Carl Rogers, owner of Fluid Dynamics. Hey, Carl, welcome to this week's Business Spotlight.
Well, thank you very much.
I appreciate you taking some time to spend with us today and looking forward to learning more about your business. So, Carl, for what exactly is Fluid Dynamics? What are you doing? For how long you've been doing it?
Okay, well, Fluid Dynamics is an offshoot from my original company, which was an industrial wastewater treatment company. It is an IBC Tote Mixer manufacturing company. We manufacture tote mixers and bracket systems out of all aluminum that is bolted together. And the aluminum is, let's just say, thicker than our competitors. And because we use aluminum rather than any other type of metal, our mixers are typically lighter. Also, because of the thickness of the aluminum, they don't rust and they literally last. I still have the first one that I made back in 2017. The way we got into this business was I had proposed a system to a very large customer of mine. Actually proposed 242 systems to a customer, and he wanted to come by my facility to visit our manufacturing plant to make sure that we could fulfill the orders. And while he was there, he saw that we were one part of my business at the time was blending polymers, and we had to use IBC Tote Mixers. And he saw the tote mixers that we had and asked me where we purchased them. I told him that we actually had to make them because all the ones we had purchased fell apart in our kind of rough industrial atmosphere within 3 to 6 months, and that I had been shelling out thousands for things that I could make on my own. And it worked perfectly. We made 7 IBC tote mixers. And if anyone doesn't understand, an IBC tote, you have to understand what an IBC tote is.
Right.
An IBC tote, yeah, an IBC tote is that, and they're only in manufacturing plants. You'll see them on some farms, and you see them in every single sci-fi movie because they look space age. They are those white polypropylene or polyethylene tanks that are square, that have the 6-inch round lid on the top, and then they have the metal casing around the outside. Almost makes it look like a checkerboard on every side, or a tic-tac-toe board rather, on every side, with that those metal bars around them. I almost guarantee you've seen them on power washing trucks or on trucks moving down the road. They're meant to carry chemicals that are used in manufacturing, and they are also used for agriculture, for fertilizer, for shipping and containing fertilizer and pesticides. So that's an IBC tote mix. I mean, that's a IBC tote. Now, why do they have to mix them? Well, what they do is, in order to get a better price or better pricing on their chemistry, the law requires that they ship in all these somewhat hazardous chemicals in these specially protected IBC totes. And when they arrive, the chemicals themselves are not exactly stable, meaning that if you let them sit for over a couple days without being agitated, they will stratify, or the different parts of the chemistry will separate in the tank. So you literally have to, just before you use it, pop a tote mixer on these things, stir them around for 2 to 5 minutes, and then whatever chemical you're using is suddenly ready for use for the rest of the day.
Okay, no, I get that. Yeah. So who's your best customer? What's your ideal customer for these IBC Tote Mixers?
Well, you know what? That's kind of funny. It's a weird story. My best customers, I found most of my customers originally on eBay, believe it or not. My first customer, of course, was that big company in the corrugated box industry that basically told me I needed to start selling the mixers that we made. And we took his advice, sold a lot to him. But then I didn't have an easy way to get the message or deliver our put our product out there in the market to everyone. However, eBay turned out to be an incredible way to do it. Period. It sounds silly, but using eBay and Google Analytics, what happened was anytime, and it took about 6 months for this to happen, but the way Google works, once you start putting things up for sale on eBay, and then if you start a website, I actually built a website, a direct sales website where you could buy these mixers off the website, and then used Google Analytics to pay per click and that type of thing. And once you use that combination, suddenly Google starts putting you all over the place,
Right.
On the internet. So people can start typing in IBC Tote Mixers, and lo and behold, just a little SEO work, and you start popping up in front of more and more customers as you go along.
Excellent, excellent. But the customers are farmers, industrial plants. What's the target market?
Most of the best customers I have are industrial, so they're all manufacturers. They're box manufacturers. They are. I'll give you like Alcoa is a good one. Pacific would be a good one. Pratt Industries would be a good one. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola. Basically anyone that manufactures anything that need a constant supply of totes, and thus tote mixers.
Gotcha. Okay. So how did COVID-19 affect any of it? Did that affect you?
Oh my God, that was a nightmare. During the lockdowns, when we started quarantining, I have always maintained less than 50 employees. They shut my manufacturing facility down for 8 months. It was mandatory. I lost so much money during the COVID time that I am still struggling to get back to where I was.
Wow. What? So they shut you down completely. Was there any actions you took because of that? Any way that you pivoted to for anything, or were you just completely?
I tried almost every government program they had available. However, a lot of times I did not qualify because of the sales volume that I had previously. So just did not qualify for very much government help at all.
Yeah.
And believe me, I tried. And the only thing I was able to get out of it was, I was able to find other employment for every single one of my employees. So I was kind of proud of that. But as far as myself, the owners take it on the chin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is great that you took care of your employees, because, that's a caring employer to do that. So that's pretty awesome. What are you doing now to try to recover, to jumpstart this as we're coming out of the pandemic?
Well, believe it or not, once they shut me down, after a few months, after months of being shut down, I had to vacate my premises because I could no money coming in, not being able to produce anything. Couldn't pay the rent on the facility anymore. So I grabbed as much stuff as I could and took it to my house and then put it into basically a warehouse I have on the property, willy-nilly. So as I went back through there, I found loads of old tote mixers, all the parts and pieces to put them together. And I still had all the machinery to actually assemble these things. So I am restarting slow and steady by initially offering the ones that I currently have onto eBay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the parts that I have, constructing ones that I can stock, and then offering them one by one on eBay right now to get some restart up money.
Gotcha. Okay. What's the biggest learning you've had since being a big business owner?
The biggest thing I learned as a business owner was to watch your step. If you don't look for others trying to trip you up, you will trip. And it's unfortunate. I have tried to run a straightforward, truthful, and ethical business, but the ones that don't play by the rules can really hurt you if you don't have your guard up at all time, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that certainly is. What's the biggest issue you've had to overcome over time? You talked a little bit about COVID, but any other issues you've had to overcome as you started your business?
Yeah, absolutely. With fluid dynamics, the biggest issue I had was cash on hand. Like I told you, when I started the company, it was just basically I already had a big customer base from my wastewater industry, and all of them paid with purchase order, and then they had the 30 days to pay. Well, I'm not sure if you know, but businesses, especially the bigger businesses, typically won't pay for 60, 90 days and even further out sometimes. So when I branched out into eBay and then my own direct sales, I literally got so many orders at one time that I was scrambling to get enough money just for parts because of these, because of some of my current wastewater customers were finding out about these mixers that they could buy that would last them forever and save them all kinds of money. They were starting to send me purchase orders. So it was almost a conflict of interest because I could not refuse them, because if I refused them and said only cash, they would often get upset and threaten to drop the wastewater business they did with me as well.
I see. Yeah. So that cash gap can really kill you when you don't have the cash flow to generate what you need because you're waiting on people to pay. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I guess that is difficult with big industry to train those customers the way you want them to be, right? Smaller ones you can. So.
Yeah. And it's almost like I was trying to keep it a secret from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what have you learned about yourself during your journey as an entrepreneur?
Oh, well, I've learned that even though I've gone through my ups and downs, I have never had to compromise my values, and I'm still alive, still kicking, and still very well able to make a profitable multi-million-dollar business yet again.
Excellent. Excellent. So what's the future look like, and what do you see as the main challenges as you move forward?
Okay. The future for me is going to be a mouse running through a government maze. I don't see myself having any problem selling. And because of COVID, I lost a lot of wastewater customers as well, because they shut their plants down as well for a time. And literally the environmental regulations were loosened during that time as well. Not sure exactly why that happened, but a lot of them no longer had to treat water. So I don't even have a whole lot of those customers. And so that sounds like a curse, but it may be a blessing in disguise, because now I can offer mixers cash up front,
Yeah.
and be able to work in the black without going into massive debt, and, sell only the things that I have on hand. And that strategy will reduce the risk. The biggest hurdle I see is government intervention. For example, they just signed into law, I believe it was something close to $48 billion that was going to, of the 400 and some odd billion dollars that they passed, $48 billion of that is going to the IRS. And a lot of their directive behind that money tells them to go after small businesses that make under $400,000 a year. And at this point, that would include mine.
Yeah, that's yeah, I read that too. And that's just so discerning, because America's made up of small businesses. It's like, 80%, 90% businesses are small businesses, and that's the lifeblood of America. So that's yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. So what advice would you give to anybody thinking of going into business?
Seek professional help. It's not meant to be a joke. I mean, probably, some get a mentor or an advisor, because there are probably at least 100-fold more hurdles you have to jump through to be successful now than there were when I started back in 1998.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice. I mean, absolutely. Mentors, coaches, they just an outside look that can help you see those blind spots, right, that you don't necessarily see yourself. So that's awesome, Carl. Is any offers or anything you'd like to include in the newsletter?
You mean offers that I for my business?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're literally offering we're literally offering 40% off of current stock, so of tote mixers. So
Okay.
and the reasoning behind that is these are ones that I have left over from the COVID dilemma that I didn't even know I had. So we're offering them at 40% off, because the great name value that I had for the company was somewhat lost during the COVID pandemic. And so I'm having to reintroduce myself. So
Yeah. Okay.
second is to offer great value at low price.
Okay. Absolutely. We'll make sure that's included. And that's it for the interview. That kind of wraps it up. Great job. Some great advice, some great learning from you. Thanks so much for taking time today, Carl, with us. Appreciate it.